Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're going to jump in and take a look at the second build that we're doing through Halloween. And this one is one of my favorites. I've been looking forward to this, creating it from scratch, but this is the It 3-door vignette. This is from the It Chapter 1, the 2017 release of Pennywise. And this is in the house on Neibolt Street. It is in a room that has 3 doors, with blood on the doors that is kind of going up instead of down. It says scary, not scary, and very scary, or at least something along those lines. I'll show a picture of it here in a moment. But today we're going to go through and look at the materials we're going to need to build this. I've started some of it, and we're going to look at that. I'll explain the things that I've done so far, what's to come. I'm anticipating this will take at least 3 videos to finish. Potentially more. There's going to be a lot of details that won't come around till it's almost done. But hey, with that, let's jump in. And hey, before we do that though, I also want to, at the end of this video, so stick around to the end, I'm going to go through the list of every single video submission that I've received so far. We've got till 15 October to get those in. And so at the end of this video, I'll run down just straight down a list, and we'll go through of all the videos that I've received so far. If you do not hear your name called and you submitted something, I don't have it. So we'll talk about that when we get to that point. So now let's jump in and take a look at how we're going to create this. Okay, so what is it we're talking about that we're going to build? I'm going to throw a picture up. Let's take a look at this together, and I'll kind of walk you through why I like this and why I wanted to create it. So here you see the picture from the movie. This is a still capture of the actual scene in the movie. And so this is a very dilapidated, clearly, room in the house on Neibolt Street. There's a big window on the left. You've got 3 doors in the center of the room. Not scary, scary, and very scary. And then I'm going to extend the wall to the right a little bit, and we're going to have Pennywise himself actually standing in that corner. So I'm going to try to build all this stuff from scratch for the most part. So let's go through a list of everything, or at least everything that I know of so far, that we're going to use to build this. And we'll just kind of walk through them piece by piece and then see how the build is coming together. So let's take a look. All right, the first thing that really got me motivated to create this is you guys know that I'm a huge It and Pennywise fanatic. I try to collect a lot of stuff with Pennywise. I don't know if anybody has seen these before. These are the NECA figures. Okay, this NECA is the company that builds them. They've been out for a very long time. They all different types, right? So you've got I've got a whole a whole slew of these. But I just broke this one out, and so this is what they look like. I mean, they are incredibly detailed. I'm trying to focus on that, but I mean, just look at the detail on that. That is incredibly scary. The heads pop off. You can change the heads. You can change the arms. Everything moves. They're all posable and standable. So this is the reason that I wanted to create the sewer scene and the 3-door vignette scene. So that's the first thing. This is the motivation, the inspiration, I suppose, to do that. So as I started thinking about how would we create this diorama or this vignette or whatever you want to call it, I thought about, you guys know I go to a lot of the craft stores, right? I visit them frequently. And as I walk through during any season, really, I always look around for things that I think I could use on maybe something that I would build in the future. And so the first thing I saw, now these come in a very large section. I've cut this, but this is pretty thick foam core, right? And it comes in a big sheet. I don't remember exactly how big they are, but they're fairly large. And you can pick these up at Hobby Lobby. I think they're $5 or $6 a sheet, but they're fairly robust. I grabbed 2 of these. And so I figured the thickness, I can use this. It's easy to cut. It's easy to manipulate. I can hot glue it together. I can do a whole lot of things with it. So that's what I've decided to use to build the vignette. So you'll probably, if you want to replicate this or try something like this of your own, that's a good place to start with the foundation for that. The second thing that I use almost all of my builds is the pink XPS foam. Now, you guys have seen me use this 100 times. This is a 1-inch sheet. I've cut this down and I've been using some of that. I use my Proxon. I'm going to build the doors. And matter of fact, you can see the Proxon sitting behind me. I'm going to use this foam core to build the doors. Now, you can buy pre-made doors. You can buy pre-made a lot of this stuff. But I wanted to try to create this from as much scratch as I could. So I just want to replicate the doors just like you saw in the picture to the best of my ability. Is it going to be perfect? Likely not. Is it going to be close? Yeah, I think so. And I think it'll pass the litmus test when it's all said and done. So I'm using the XPS foam to create the doors. Now, I am cheating a little bit, and I picked this stuff up at Hobby Lobby. This is crown molding. Okay, you can get this back in the dollhouse section, but it's crown molding, and it's very intricate. Let me see if I can pull a piece of this out. It's very intricate. I don't know if you can see the detail in that, but I mean, that's hard to create with foam. That's pretty difficult to create, and so it's paintable, it's wooden. You can pick up a pack of 4 of these. They're probably 18 inches long or so for $3.49. At least that's what it was when I picked it up. So I'm going to use that as the baseboard around the room and around the in between the doors and things like that. And the thing that really got me the most in trying to recreate this, I've been planning this, guys, for over a year. And where the holdup for me has been is the wallpaper. You can rewind and go back and look at that picture. And it's very dark. It's very hard to see, but it is a very particular type of wallpaper. It's sort of a pink striped with roses coming down through the center every other stripe or so. It's very nostalgic. It's very vintage. And I really wanted to try and replicate that wallpaper. I've looked everywhere and I can't find it. I couldn't find it at all. One of my buddies pointed out that they have it on Etsy, and I was actually having trouble finding it on Etsy. So I went the homemade way, at least I was going to, and I'll show you. I picked up, I've looked at every piece of craft paper and cardstock and scrapbooking paper that I could get my hands on. This is what I found at Hobby Lobby. This is 59 cents a pop, and it is kind of the color somewhat. The stripes are a lot bigger on this than they are in scale. And then I took washi tape that I can't find. Maybe I have it here in front of me somewhere, but who knows? It's probably put away somewhere. I'd have to find it. But there's washi tape also at Hobby Lobby. I don't have stock at Hobby Lobby, although I should. But there's some washi tape at Hobby Lobby that has roses down it. It's too wide, but I figure if I cut it and then use some Tim Holtz vintage paper ink, then I could get it to start to look like the wallpaper that I wanted to use. So that's what I tried to do. This is very time consuming and it's very tedious. And at the end of the day, the scale is way off. Would it work? In a pinch, in a bind, sure. It would work. Everybody would know what it was after it was all said and done. However, I went to a local miniature shop, a toy shop, miniature shop. It's been there forever in historic downtown Glendale. And I was able to find one piece, and I lied to my buddy. I said it was $3. It was $2 of the exact wallpaper that I was looking for. This is what the wallpaper looks like in the house on Neibolt Street. This is exactly the same wallpaper I believe that they used in the movie, or at least very, very, very close. So you can see what I tried to create to have it look sort of like that. So you can see that it's, I mean, the idea is there, but it's not anywhere close to the wallpaper. Now, this comes in at 18 by 24, 18 by 12, I think, whatever the size is. One piece, that's all they had. I said, hey, can you get more? She said, no. That piece of wallpaper, and this is dollhouse wallpaper, by the way, this piece has been retired for many years. It's the only piece that I've got. It's incredibly difficult to find. They don't make it anymore. So I took this piece to the UPS store or any Kinko's or Office Max or whatever, and I had them make me or copy me another 10 sheets of this. I'm not going to need 10 sheets, but I don't ever want to run out of it again. So I've got plenty of the wallpaper. So pretty excited about that. Sometimes you just you get lucky, and I'm trying to get this little sun out of my eyes, so bear with me. Sometimes you get really lucky in what you find when you are out rummaging around for stuff. And I just happened to stop in that shop on our way somewhere, and lo and behold, out of the blue, they had this. And so I've been looking for this for a very long time. The next thing that we're going to need is, if you remember back to the picture, everything is run down, everything is dilapidated. It's very old, it's very vintage. And in order to get that look on the wood, and I'm not sure exactly how it's going to look on the foam. Actually, I am, because I've already built a door we're going to show you. But I've used this crackle medium. Okay, so this crackle medium comes in various brands, various types. There's some paste, there's a liquid. This is like a paint. This is from Folk Art. I did try the one from Mod Podge. It did not work for me at all. Not on this project, on another project, it did not work. Perhaps I did something wrong, but it seemed like it did not work. This does work pretty well, but on the XPS foam, I don't know that it works as well as it could. If you use this on wood, like if you bought a dollhouse, a wooden dollhouse door off of Etsy or something like that, I think this crackle medium would probably perform a lot better, give you a much better effect. I did not do that. I use this right on the foam. Actually, I'll explain how we do that when we get to the door. But it works okay, and I think it'll sell the diorama just fine. I think it'll work. I think it'll be believable. And then everything, I like the vintage white. This is Folk Art again. I think you can get all this stuff at Michael's, perhaps Hobby Lobby, but this is Folk Art vintage white, and I love the vintage flavor on everything. I love the vintage white, sort of an off-white, kind of maybe a buttermilkish white. But it's the exact color that I was hoping to get on to repaint the baseboards, to paint the doors, and things like that. Okay, so I've gabbed a lot and haven't shown you a whole lot of really anything that we've built. So let's go to the workbench and take a look and see where it is that we're at, and I'll explain some of the details as we get to it. Okay, so you can see, obviously, I've been using the Proxxon. This is a must-have for me to create anything. I've got some extra pieces back here that I'm going to use throughout this build. But you almost have to have something like that, at least in my opinion, to cut things down to size. So I took the wallpaper, and well, before I did any of that, I took some measurements, and I cut basically with an X-Acto and a T-square on this cutting mat. I cut out some sizes. Now, I didn't really measure a whole lot. I just wanted to kind of get a good size to fit the 3 doors, to fit pennywise on the thing, and go from there. So I cut out the back piece, which is this one here. So this is the back of the diorama. This is going to be a floor and a ceiling, very short, very stubby, I guess. This is going to be one wall, and then this is another wall with that window that we talked about. So once I cut everything out with an X-Acto and a T-square to get it as good as I could, then I just simply traced around the wallpaper and cut that out with an X-Acto and a ruler. And then I'll put that on there. This one is actually glued down, and so this is going to be the window. Now this is going to have curtains on it and a light shining through from the outside to kind of give it that look that we're going for. It'll have, like I said, curtains. It'll have a curtain rod. It'll have a bunch of broken blinds hanging down. There'll be a whole bunch of spider webs up around the top going towards the back of the room. And then this will all be dirtied up and run down, but you can see sort of the crackle paint on the wood. Let me see if I can kind of hold this, or at least get this zoomed in a little bit. So look at the crackle that you get from the crackle medium. And so how do you do that? So the first thing you do, these are popsicle sticks cut out to go inside this window frame. And the way that I did the crackle is you take the popsicle sticks or any type of wood or any product of your choice, sometimes foam, that's what we created the door with, and you paint it black. So I spray painted these black, I let them dry, and then once they were thoroughly dry, I spread that crackle gel medium all over them, just like paint with a paintbrush. And I let them sit there for about, the bottle says about an hour. And so right before the hour was up, I took the vintage white paint and I painted right over the crackle medium. And what happens is once the acrylic paint mixes with that crackle, then as it's drying, this is what it looks like. From my understanding, you could probably do the same thing with white glue. I may try another door with white glue to see if it gives me any better effect. That serves also as sort of a crackle medium as the glue dries. But we'll see. I may experiment with that as well, just to see which one I like better. But you can kind of see that. And then I took a piece of opaque film that you can get at the hobby store, Hobby Lobby or something back in the scrapbook section. It's like a vellum, but a little bit thicker. And I essentially cut it out. I use some adhesive tape that I use for card making, and then I hot glued some popsicle sticks, uncut, unpainted, anything, just hot glued them on either side to the back of this. And then as the light shines through there, you'll see the window is boarded up. There'll be curtains there. They'll be all dirty and dingy and yuck. And so you'll see a little bit of this stuff protruding through, but I'm trying to replicate that in the movie as best I can. And this wallpaper will be somewhat dirtied up and maybe torn in certain areas as well. Okay, so that's that piece. I'm trying to save the main piece for last. I'm sorry. But then this is the other wall. This is going to be, so I'm going to try to do a couple of different things here. I'm going to try to put some wood in certain areas, like it would be the inside of the house. This is an old house. It's a wooden house, and it's mostly slats and beams going across the walls like you've seen in most scary movies. And so where the wallpaper will be ripped in certain spaces, you're going to be able to see some wood slats and things like that from behind that. I'm not going to go crazy with that. I don't want to oversell that effect, but I think it is important to have some of them. I've got to exactly, figure out how I'm going to get that done as well. So I haven't figured that piece out yet. That will be forthcoming. But the wallpaper is cut for that piece. And then as we come down here, this is the back piece. And so this is, I'll move Pennywise. The wallpaper wasn't quite long enough, so I had to cut another piece to kind of match up. You can see how that is coming together. Nobody will be able to tell the difference once it's done. We'll move this door out of the way. We'll talk about that. So how did we do the door? Well, just like I do anything on the Proxxon, we cut some really thin foam. And I measure this? Well, not really. But what I did do before I cut it was essentially set Pennywise up just like I had him, and said, hey, if Pennywise was going to be going through this door, to make it believable, how tall would that door need to be? And Pennywise is pretty tall anyway. And so I just decided to make it about a little bit higher, a little bit taller than he is. And so I say he, but if you've ever read the book, I think Pennywise is a female. You don't know that. You got to read the book. You got to get into the specifics of it, but it's kind of crazy. Anyway, So that's how I did the door. I didn't really measure a size. I just kind of eyeballed a thickness that I thought would work. And then I cut, let me come back over here and get some of these pieces. I cut smaller pieces like this. I've actually, like this, I'm going to get them in the camera. They're actually a little too thick still. I've got to slice them a little thinner. You can cut paper thin, almost, with the Proxon. So these are a little thick, but these are going, and they're a little wide. So I've got to narrow them down. But these are going to be those parts of the door that go like that. Okay. This is going to be the trim that goes around the door. And essentially there's another piece that I've got cut for the tops. They're not cut yet, but you can kind of see how that works. And I just cut them at 45-degree angles here, cut them 45-degree angles here, and then hot glue them directly to the door. And then once all of that is glued down, then I take, once that's done, I took the push pins. You can get these on Amazon or anywhere of your choosing. These are black. I took some copper rusted tin or something like that, and just lightly put it on there for just an older rundown look on the doorknob. And then essentially you just stick that in, and that's how I did it on the actual door itself. And then because everything is foam, it'll just push right in once the door is glued in place. All right, so let's take a look at the door itself. All right, so the door, and I'm going to put that pin back in there, at least for now. Okay, so the door itself. This one is what I'm going to call, I'm trying to zoom out just a little bit. Let's put it over here. It's easier to see. All right, so this door, I believe, is done, or at least it's as done as I'm going to make it today. I may recreate. Still got 2 doors to go. If I find out I've found a better way, then I'll redo this door and try to use the best method that I can come up with. But as you can see, if you stand pennywise up to the door without knocking anything down, that's the size that we're looking at. I think it's very size appropriate and representative. So once I got the door glued down like this, I then took that door outside and I black spray painted it with the water-based spray paint. It's foam. Remember, you've got to use a water-based paint. If you don't, it will destroy your work. And then once the black paint dried, just like we talked about with the other stuff, I then painted a pretty good coat of the crackle medium over this door. It did an okay job. So you can see around the top, it looks pretty good. You can see out through the door in certain areas. It does look pretty good. I mean, it's not bad. And the longer it dries, the better it's getting. But it's not perfect. It's not, but I think it's good enough, right? I'm a perfectionist. You guys know that. So I try to get everything exactly the way I want it. And that's hard to do. But I think it's okay. I think it's good enough. My point is, I think if you used a wooden door, it'd be easier. And so then after that crackle medium was on and set for about an hour, 45 minutes or so, then I took the vintage white and I liberally put it onto this door. I took it outside and I let it sit for another hour and sort of dry. And this is the result. Well, the result looks, at least the crackle piece looked like that. So then I brought the door back inside and I took a black Sharpie and I highlighted all of the cracks in the door frame, the 45-degree angles at the top, all of the little, and all the little details inside the door is just done with a Sharpie pressing in to indent, the foam. It's very thin. It's very easy to do. And then I just highlighted it a little bit more with the marker when we came back in to get it to look like that. I took an alcohol ink red marker. You do not have to do that. I just thought it would be easier to do that. Also scary to do that because if you mess it up, you've messed up your door. You could also use a pencil just to trace out your lettering and then paint it. I used a red alcohol marker to kind of go over, and I pulled the picture up and I looked at the picture and I tried to replicate it to the best of my ability. It's not perfect at all, but I think it gets the point across. And so once that was done, then I took a very fine tipped paintbrush, incredibly fine tip paintbrush. I used some scarlet red, the darkest red that I could find that looks the most like blood in my collection. And I used that very fine tipped paintbrush to go over every letter and to go over those drips that are actually going up, which is what makes this so incredibly creepy, if you ask me. And so that is how that was done. And then once that was done, I took a black wash. Once that was done and dry, I took a black wash and just went over the door. It was a lot wider, a lot cleaner looking than I wanted it to be. So I took a black wash and just dabbled it on there. You can kind of see where it's on and where it run and things like that to give it that old weathered look. And then I let that sit out in the sun to dry. And this is what we're left with. This is what the door looks like. Now, I think once all three doors are done and they're on here, then this is going to look really good, because then you're going to have three doors that are going to be very close to matching. The scary door actually goes in the middle. You've got very scary and not scary. And so I think that will look good. We've got to dirty up this wallpaper. We've got to do the floor and the ceiling, which I haven't quite figured out exactly how I'm going to do yet. But in time, that will all come. So hopefully you guys are excited about this as I am. If you want to know the size, no kidding, this thing, if we can kind of get it down here, close enough anyway, it measures about 20 inches in length by about, let's go just over 10, almost 11 inches in height. So 20 by 11 or so is about the size of that. And then the sides are obviously much shorter than that. They measure 22 to just over 27, so just over 5 inches in depth on this vignette. So that's where we're at. That's how it's coming together. Hopefully you're enjoying this. Hopefully you're as excited as I am to see it finished. The devil is in the details. You guys have heard me say that 100 times. And this one is absolutely no different. The details are what's going to make this come alive. Okay, well, that was a closer look at all the supplies that I'm using and, excuse me, all the props and pieces that I'm putting into this piece to get the diorama to hopefully look like the movie set. Hopefully you're enjoying it. I know this has been something I've been looking forward to. So just for that reason alone, it's fun to sit down and try to recreate this. And you kind of start with an action figure, right? Or at least that's what I started with. And then several people have done these online already. A good buddy of mine, John Stoner, has done one and completed one. But I've been planning this for a couple of years and just decided once I found the wallpaper, it was time to do it. So hopefully you're enjoying, hopefully you're following along and looking forward to seeing this one complete just like I am. After we're done with this one, we're going to go on to the railroad track. We've got a straight piece of track. I'm going to bring that out and show you that one. And then to accompany that, we're going to build a curved piece to match it. So that way you'll have a straight piece and a curved piece if you choose to build your own track for the haunted rails for Department 56 or any other Limax product that features a train. So you got that to look forward to after we're done with the series that we're in today. Okay. Let's talk the video real quick. For the video contest, the results are coming out. The contest will end on 15 October. Since today is the 1st of October, you've got 14 days from today to get your submission in. If it's in any later than 15 October at 5 p.m. Pacific time, it's over. Contest is done. So that's the drop dead date and time, okay? So I'm going to run down a list of names that I have received submissions for the contest for. Again, if you do not hear your name and you believe that you sent me something, because I have had several people tell me on the channel, hey, I don't see my video, I submitted it, I don't know where it went. Well, if you don't see it, I don't see it. The easiest way to do it is copy the link to your YouTube video and email it to me at halloweenvillagesbycarl@gmail.com. If I get it, which I should, then I will respond to you via that same email and let you know that I have your video and it's entered into the contest. Fairly straightforward and very simple. Folks are sending it to me in movies and things like just if you could, because I want to try to showcase all these videos at the end of the season on this channel, and it just makes it so much easier if you just link your YouTube page. You link the video. I see my camera going in and out. It's trying to focus colors or something. The sun setting through the window. It's a mess. Don't pay attention to that. All right, let's focus. All right, here's the entries that I have so far. Barbara Eberhardt, I have your submission. Joe Wagner, Bill Mudd, Doug Coots, Jamie Terry, Logan Reichenberger, Christuba Manuel, Ramon Medina, or maybe Raymond Medina, Amanda Wayman, Louis Diaz, Jedediah Call, Kevin Persley, J-Dub Taylor, The Spooky Town Crafter, Miniature Villages and Dioramas, John Stoner, and Liz Pounders. That's it. I've got 17 entries to date. If you have sent me a video and I did not call your name on here, I don't have it. So again, email it directly to me, the link to your YouTube video, right, at halloweenvillagesbycarl@gmail.com. All right, so we have to the 15th to get the entries in and get them, and then I will try to get the winners announced and showcased on this channel by Halloween. That's the goal. So you got to give me some grace. It's a busy time of the year. So hey, we're going to wrap this one up. I hope you're enjoying this. I know I'm enjoying this. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. If this is your thing, if this is not your thing, if you wish we'd just move on to something else, that's fine. We're not going to, but I would like to know anyway. So we'll get another video out here in the next few days, I hope, to start finishing this one. So until the next video, take care of yourselves, love one another. God bless each and every one of you, and we'll talk to you again real soon.